Did Christina Hendricks speak to Natalia Grace's mom before playing her? Christina Hendricks revealed whether she contacted Natalia Grace's adoptive mother, Cynthia Mans, after being cast to play her on Good American Family. I did not speak to Cynthia. That wasn't something that was even on the page for us, Hendricks, 49, exclusively told Us Weekly. This is my interpretation, so I don't know if other cast members did that. I don't believe they reached out to anyone, but I don't want to speak for anyone else. But this was definitely me playing a character that was on this page, while having the fortune to take clues and watch the information that they had provided out there in the world so far without making contact. Hendricks wanted to present her own interpretation of the character despite the events being based on real events, adding, "In some ways, from what might already be out there, the characters might seem bigger than life, or that it's hard to even believe that some of these behaviors are happening. It really was an artistic call about what you think is going to best represent this show and play in with the other characters. It was also about taking cues and inspirations from these real-life people, but then making it our own." Good American Family, which premiered in March, is based on Natalia Grace, who made headlines when she was adopted by Christine and Michael Barnett as a child, only to accuse them of abandoning her. The Barnetts later accused Grace of secretly being an adult masquerading as a child, and in 2012 petitioned to change Grace's birth records to legally change her age from 8 to 22. Christine and Michael were charged in 2019 with multiple counts of neglecting a dependent. The charges resulted in a 5-year investigation, during which they accused Grace of threatening to harm them and their sons. Michael was found not guilty, and the case against Christine was dismissed. Mans, meanwhile, invited Grace to live with her husband, and their 10 children. The couple petitioned to become Grace's legal guardians in 2016, but a hearing was required to determine whether she was a legal adult. Grace was declared an adult but remained with the Manses, and they legally adopted her in 2023. Later that same year, Grace and the Mans family had a falling out amid claims they had allegedly abused her. Cynthia and Antoine denied the accusations, and Natalia refused to address the scandal on her Investigation Discovery series. "We keep the events in the show to a very, very specific time," Hendricks noted to us. "It's an ongoing story that's out there in the world. You could do series after series after series of it. So we decided to remain in this very specific time." Hendricks revealed she had mere hours to prepare to play Natalia Grace's third adoptive mother. "I got cast 30 hours before I was on set, so I had to work very, very quickly," she recalled. "I had an opportunity to read the scripts, and I did watch Investigation Discovery's The Curious Case of Natalia Grace series that's out there to try and get as much information as possible. Then I worked with a dialect coach because we wanted Cynthia to stand out in a little bit of a different way from the Barnetts. So I did all of the big fittings and everything in 30 hours, and then I was on set." Hendricks called it a fast and furious process. "But I digested as much as I could in that amount of time," she continued. "I actually was unfamiliar with the story. Then when they reached out to me, I turned to my husband, George Bianchini, and I was like, 'Oh, this is this wild script.' And he was like, 'I know all about that.' So I think there's a fair amount of people who do know about it." The objective for Hendricks was to not pick a side in the story. "I also think these characters are just complicated. There are facts that have been proven to be true. But the way that I played Cynthia was very much what was in that script, and what our angle was at that time," she said. "This is an interpretation of this story. This is a dramatization of this story. We wanted to make sure, and everyone was very careful, to stick to the script that we were working on rather than going off of other things that maybe you've heard. We wanted to stay true to the script." When news broke that Christina Hendricks had been cast as Christine Barnett in the dramatized limited series, The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, the internet lit up. Known for her fiery performances in Mad Men and Good Girls, Hendricks seemed like a surprising yet tantalizing choice to portray the polarizing mother at the heart of one of the strangest family sagas in recent memory. But behind the camera, away from the bright lights and red carpets, a quieter, more careful process was unfolding. One that led Hendricks down a rabbit hole of diaries, transcripts, and possibly a single, unexpected phone call. The question everyone has been whispering about: did Christina Hendricks speak to Christine Barnett before taking on the role? According to producers, the idea was floated early. "We wanted Christina to get a full sense of the woman beyond the headlines," said director Leela Brody. "Christine is complicated, defensive, charming, manipulative, maternal. You can't fake that kind of texture. You have to live in it." And live in it she did. Hendricks spent weeks poring over old court documents, watching deposition footage, and even renting a short-term apartment in Indianapolis to retrace the Barnett steps. Local store owners recalled spotting the flame-haired actress browsing antique shops, quietly scribbling in a notebook, a far cry from her usual glamorous self. She wanted to understand Christine's environment, the tension of the neighborhood, the unspoken gossip that hung in the air, said a crew member who requested anonymity. It was eerie. She became Christine before the cameras even rolled. But still, did she reach out? Sources close to Hendricks say the decision wasn't made lightly. There was a lot of discussion around whether it was ethical or helpful. Her publicist, Jana Migby, noted, "Christine Barnett is not just a character, she's a real person. And this is a story with unresolved trauma. Christina didn't want to appear as if she was picking sides." The network reportedly encouraged Hendricks to consider reaching out, offering to facilitate a controlled, off-the-record conversation between the two women. For weeks, she wrestled with it. In one now viral behind-the-scenes clip, Hendricks confides to her dialect coach, "If I do speak to her, I'm afraid I'll like her, or worse, I'll believe her." Then came the envelope. Arriving without a return address, the Manila envelope was left at the hotel front desk under Hendricks' alias. Inside there was no letter, just a handwritten note that read, "You'll never understand her unless you hear my voice." Attached was a worn USB drive. What followed was something close to an audio diary. 34 minutes of a woman, presumed to be Christine Barnett, speaking candidly, emotionally, and often erratically, about her side of the story. No lawyers, no filters, just a mother recounting the rise and fall of her carefully curated life. It was like walking through someone's soul. Hendricks later told Backstage Weekly, "There were moments I hated her, moments I pitied her, but mostly I saw a woman who desperately wanted to be believed." Though she never confirmed a formal phone call or meeting, the actress did admit that the USB changed the way she approached the role. Scenes that were initially scripted with cold detachment were suddenly infused with flashes of vulnerability. A throwaway line, "She was supposed to be my little girl," became a cornerstone of Hendricks' emotional arc. In one powerful episode, Christina as Christine collapses into a chair in the middle of the courtroom hallway, clutching a framed photo of Natalia. "I built a life around a lie, or maybe the lie built itself around me," she whispers. That line, according to the showrunner, wasn't in the script. She improvised it during the 5th take. We were all in tears. That was the moment she found Christine's voice. Hendricks' performance has already sparked early Emmy buzz, and critics have praised her ability to balance maternal instinct with creeping paranoia. But audiences remain divided. Some see her portrayal as sympathetic, even redemptive. Others argue it glosses over the disturbing allegations and places too much weight on a woman who may have orchestrated one of the most bizarre manipulations in modern history. Christine Barnett herself has not issued an official statement about the series. However, a social media account believed to be linked to her posted cryptically after the premiere. Some truths come dressed as fiction. Just remember who wrote the first chapter. Whether that was a dig at the media, the showrunners, or Hendricks herself remains unclear. But for Christina, the performance wasn't about answers. It was about empathy. Did I talk to Christine Barnett? That's a question I'll let the performance answer, she said during a panel discussion at SXSD. What I can tell you is this: I listened. Maybe not in the way people expected, but I listened deeply.